got the recipe, and I kept receipts. The smell it covers me. Mods only weed. I just chopped the tree. I didn't stop to breathe. I couldn't stop my greed. It hit me like I'm Creed. No, the game is like I cheat.
Yo, this is the Good Drugs Podcast Pod Chat. This is episode 96. I am Diamond Key. This is brought to you by Gorilla Mafia Family. I'm hitting the mic and shit. And Shooter is Davis. Shooting this bitch up. Yeah. And if you hear like scribbling or something like that type of noise in the background, it's because Ree's drawing. So yeah, shout out to Ree and her drawings. Yeah, good drugs.
Gorilla Mafia Family.
So yeah, we black, all the way black. And the last podcast was a good long one. It's probably why it took so long for this one to be made and shit. But yeah, so news. Starting with news. And before news, I just want to say, because this leads right into the news, that I know I used the term or the phrase or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Before I do that, fuck it. Get your blunt, get your bong, get your lighter, get your blunt. You need a lighter for that. Your hash, edibles. I don't know. Anything niggas doing to get high off THC these days. And do that thing and get your thing and light it up. Good drugs. So yeah, fuck I was saying. So I was saying before I was finna talk about the news, that leads right into the news. What I be talking about, my phrase or term. I don't even know how you say that shit these days. But I be saying like I'm a die empty type thing. And it's just like when you say if you ever played sports and you be like leave it all on the floor or on the field. It's the same terminology in life, dying empty, leaving it all out there. So, yeah, and somebody who's doing that is, shout out to a nigga we had on the pod, Payne. You can look his shit up. INM Payne on Instagram, and all his illustrations that he's been releasing his illustrations. Get my damn phone. He's been releasing his illustrations to those that has inspired the illustrations, and been posting them online. And it's a lot of kids and shit. It's grown folks too, but it's a lot of kids and shit, and that's just inspiring because he was talking about he didn't really know like what direction he was gonna go with it and of that nature. But I'm glad that he's figuring it out. So yeah, shout out to Payne. And more news. I'm not gonna flood it with news because I usually have these niggas with me. I can flood it with news with them niggas. I'm just gonna yeah. So Simone Biles. I know we talked about Simone Biles. Doing great things and shit in the last news article, whatever the fuck. But she backed out of the finals of the Olympics. It was speculation about a lot of different shit, but it comes down to mental health, I guess, reasons. And yeah, just a lot of pressure, I guess, on a young athlete. Like I said, she's only 24. She's accomplished a lot. Yeah, just felt like that was important because fuck, it is important. Shit. Good drugs. And we are black. Sip on some water. Shit. But yeah, we all the way black. And since I don't have nobody here with me to really talk to, I'm just gonna talk my shit. So a book I just got done finished reading like 3-4 times. It's called this is what we're basing the discussion around, because this is a in general thing, but he put it in like the book terminology. But all right, it's called The Vision of the Anointed by Thomas Sowell. By Thomas Sowell. And it's basically to wrap around the basis of the discussion is just like in society, it's kind of all right, but fuck it. To think an individual or one group is the cause of any problem or solution, or has any solution to any problem, it's just the wildest. I'm putting in my own terms. It's just the wildest like thing to think. all right, for instance, when we're talking about like political shit or anything, if any type of issue, any type of problem, you can talk about like education, for instance. To think that in the classroom, for example, that a child is an issue. All right, you have a problem child, quote unquote. But to think that, that one child is gonna, that one child is never gonna. Sorry, it's not gonna go at like the ideology of how people think. That one child isn't gonna affect the whole of the classroom, where the whole classroom, like, all right, if that one child fails, the whole classroom shouldn't fail because that one child fails, so to speak. But they would say that that one child is a disruption to the classroom of the problem of why the other kids can't learn. So the book basically talks about things of the nature of like being the problem and being the solution. You have the lighter? Assist from Reed on the camera. But it talks about like being the problem and the solution, where that's how the government and we can talk about the government. That's how the government kind of plays, and he doesn't really like put groups as the government puts like Democrats, Republicans, shit of that nature. But it's more so just because it's on both sides. People that just want you to. It's not gonna go well with the ideology, but fuck it. The people that just want you to feel like they know best. They know more than what you know yourself. Like we wake up with ourselves every day and go about our day, and we know if our arm hurts, okay, something's wrong with our arm. Like, we don't need the government to tell us, like, if your arm hurts, something may be wrong with your arm. Like, no, like, we know that. So that's just like basic human nature, like to just know yourself already off rip. And for them to be telling us stuff like the cameraman, Shooters Davis, was just talking about the CDC and the deaths, and they're going up and shit of this nature and shit. But like, if you know you're not sick, you're not sick. So if I'm getting off track, but the point of the book is, I'm just going to put the basis for the first part. The point of the book is that the vision of Anointed are people, anybody in power. It can be a teacher, anybody that has this agenda of, I know what's best for you. And we are black. Got a real pod voice on right now. So more on, just going more on what we got talking about. The vision of the Anointed, anybody who's just in power. Like, again, me and cameraman, Shiz Davis, was just talking about, like, it can be at your job where it's like they have a guidelines for you to go by, to think that this is how you can perform your job at the best of your abilities. But you can probably find a better way for you to perform your job because you're doing your job. You're the one actually performing it. But moving on, fuck it. Poverty, irresponsible sex, and crime derive primarily from society rather than from individual choices and behavior. To believe in responsibility would destroy the role of the Anointed. They are the problem fixtures. So that was like a direct quote from the book. So yeah, just like usually the people forming, usually people, and these are usually people that are like forming organizations, being head of organizations and fighting for social justice and social issues and shit of that nature. Like, for instance, Black Lives Matter. And usually these people like put their agenda, their message like clear in front of you, like in the beginning, where it's like you can catch on to it or you can fall for all the other bullshit that they want you to fall for that's coming along with it. Like Black Lives Matter, for instance. Yeah, they were like stealing money and not helping the actual black lives that are supposed to be mattering. So And on their website they changed it, but on their website it was like clear from the beginning. It was like, we are Marxists, we are quote unquote feminists, but not really, but anyways, yeah, so this is usually like the vision of Anointed. This shit like spreads across the fucking spectrum of just life and reality. My fault, y'all. I'm high, been smoking. You know how we do. So just closing, control the mind, control the body, and in return you can control one's actions. And yeah, this was a good episode. Shout out to everybody that be listening to it. That's what I gotta do. I forgot. Shout out to all y'all niggas that be listening to that be like actually telling me that you're listening and hit me up consistently. Like the nigga Blow Clothing. I don't know the nigga's real name, but shout out to that nigga. Dope nigga. Yeah, it's a good episode. It's episode 96. This was brought to you by Guerrilla Mafia Family and Shooters Davis. It's production. I'm Diamond Key. I think that's it. Y'all niggas stay up, be safe, stay dangerous. It's the good drugs.